Welcome back. If you haven't joined me on Instagram, join me at EMWILSS. I would love for you to join the party and subscribe to my channel here. So go ahead and click that subscribe button. Today we are talking about 5 ways to cultivate peace in our lives. I think peace is a big component that's missing in a lot of our lives because our lives are crazy busy, and as women there's all kinds of emotions and there's drama and there's all different things happening in our lives. Peace is something that can be really hard to come by, and these are 5 ways that I have found to cultivate peace in my own life. And I'm going to tell you these 5 things, and some of them you're going to say, well, that's impossible, I can't do that. This is all about choices. It's all about choosing good for ourselves, which is a lot of what I talk about on this channel. We have to make choices to cultivate peace in our hearts, in our brains, in our spiritual lives. It is a succession of hard choices, but it's not impossible. And everything that I talk about in these 5 things is not impossible. Some of them are hard, harder for some of us than others, but not impossible. The first way, it's kind of random, that we can cultivate peace in our lives that I find so helpful for me, is to put things away. What do I mean by that? Clothes, dishes, groceries, stuff, whatever it is. When I am done using something, if it's a dress or whatever it is, I'm changing my clothes, it's so easy to just put it on the floor and be done with it. But in that moment, I say, okay, well, I'm gonna have to do this now, or I'm gonna have to do it later. I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to put things away. Getting clutter out of our lives and having like an orderly place where we live, whether that's your room or your kitchen or your home, whatever kind of place you live, having order in our lives and in our living spaces is an amazing way to cultivate peace in our lives. And you might say, that I could never do. I promise you could do it just in that moment. Say, I'm gonna have to do this now, or I'm gonna have to put this away later. I'm gonna put it away now and bring peace to my life. It's amazing what can happen when we do that. The second way is a little bit bigger. It's about letting go of grudges in our lives. And I talk about this in the chapter called Forgive and Forget in Go Bravely, my book. Forgiving and forgetting is something that's really hard to do. It's very easy to hold on to grudges in our lives when people have wronged us, and there's a million different scenarios where people could have wronged us, whether that's our parents, whether that's our teachers, whether that's our friends, whether that's an ex-boyfriend, whether that's our boyfriend, whether that's our husband, whatever it is. It's so easy to just hold on to that grudge and say, no, this person hurt me so badly, this person wronged me so badly, I'm not gonna forgive them, I'm just gonna hold on to this. There's no way to have peace in our lives if we're holding on to grudges. There's just no way. And I go into that more in the chapter in my book, and some of you have read that already. But it's so important to just learn to let go and to learn to forgive. And if you're a woman who believes in the Lord can teach us how to forgive. There has been situations in my life where I was like, Jesus, I, in my own humanity, really can't forgive this person, and I'm gonna need your help and your grace in order to do that. He is good at giving us the grace to do those things. But it's so important to look at my life and think, if I'm gonna have peace in my life, what grudges am I holding on to? What resentments am I holding against people? And how can I work through those and let those go and learn to let those go, no matter how deep they are? There's so many different scenarios and so many different kind of depths and levels to the ways that people have hurt us and wronged us. And some of them go back years and years and years. And some was like a little squabble with a friend. I don't know what resentments or grudges you hold on to in your life, but stepping back to examine those, maybe even prayerfully in your life, very important. And learning to let those go. Complicated process, but a worthwhile one. The third way that I've learned to cultivate peace in my life is to not procrastinate. I don't save everything until the last minute, and it's a tendency that I have. I want to save everything to the last minute, and I have to intentionally make the choice not to. When I was in high school and we would get off for Christmas break, the whole first night of my Christmas break, I would get home at 2 or 3 o'clock or whatever, and I had so much homework that was assigned to me. Oh my gosh, high school was so hard. So much homework, and I would do it all that night. I was like, I want a peace-filled Christmas vacation. I don't want to have all this stuff looming over my head. I'm going to do all of this right now. When we save everything until the last minute, there's no way to have peace in our lives because everything is chaos all the time. Everything is stress. We have this dark cloud looming over our heads. We're like, oh my gosh, I still have to do that. Oh my gosh, I still have to do that. And there's no way to be peaceful. But I found so much, even in that one little thing of doing all that homework on that night. It was so hard. It took me like 7 or 8 hours, but I would do it. I learned such a good lesson then that for the rest of the time, the 2 weeks that I had for Christmas break, I could feel free to just have fun, to just relax, knowing that I could go in after New Year's, all of my assignments would be done. Like I would just have to pack up my backpack and go back to school. And there was so much peace to be found in that. And that is something that goes across the board in all of our lives, right? You might be like, yeah, procrastination station right here. Like you cannot stop procrastinating. It is a discipline and choice. It takes a lot of choices to get a planner or whatever that may be, to start writing to-do lists, to say, I have to do all of this before I turn on Netflix. I have to do all of this before I scroll Instagram. Seeking that self-discipline and learning to cultivate that self-discipline in our lives and not leave everything to the last second so that we're scrambling for our whole entire lives. And some of you I know out there, you spend your whole life scrambling because you procrastinate everything. I've been there before and I've had to make some choices to say, I can't live like this anymore. I cannot procrastinate everything because I just feel so chaotic and so messy and so out of sorts all the time. I want some organization and I'm gonna choose that for myself. It's gonna be hard. And boy, has that paid off in my life. The fourth way that I cultivate peace in my life is no screens before sleeping. So many of us spend so much of our time before we go to sleep scrolling and looking at things, like mindless things that don't matter at all. Daniel and I have a no screens policy in our bedroom whatsoever, and then no TVs. We cannot sit in bed and scroll on our phones. Like that is not allowed because we know that it's not healthy for us, and we know that it's not necessary, that there's nothing I'm going to be sitting in bed scrolling on my phone that's going to enhance my life. I'm not going to miss anything if I don't scroll in bed, and it's a problem that so many of us have. There's all these kinds of studies that are coming out that looking at a screen before you sleep doesn't help you get good sleep at all. And good sleep is necessary for a peaceful life. No screens before sleeping has helped me so much. And some of you are like, well, what about my alarm clock? Good thing you asked. You can plug your phone in all the way across the room, which forces you to get out of your bed in the morning, which probably forces you to, wake up a little faster, which is really good. And this is something that I would do before I was married. And Daniel said, no, this is not helping you at all. Like this is no way, we're not going to do this. And I was like, you know what? You are absolutely correct. And so that's what we've done. And it's helped so much. Before I go to sleep, I'm not like, looking about other people's lives. I'm talking to Daniel, or I have prayer time or reading or whatever that is, stuff that actually like enhances my life rather than just like mindless things that don't matter at all. Some of you are like, oh my gosh, I could never. Yes, you can. Choices. Or you could get an good old-fashioned alarm clock. Those work too. Number 5, this is important to me because as most of you on this channel know, I'm a woman of faith. One of the biggest ways to cultivate peace in my life is to spend time with God and to find that prayer time. To find a rhythm of prayer that works for me, to find a style of prayer that works for me, whether that's listening to worship music, whether that's going to church, whatever that may be, to take that time to spend with God. And a lot of us say, I don't have time. We all have the time. We are lying to ourselves when we say, I don't have time, because so often we spend an hour and a half watching Netflix or an hour scrolling on Instagram, and we spend all this time and we're like, I don't have time. Yes, we all do. It's just about prioritizing that time. Like I've asked myself that question in my life when I'm trying to cultivate peace. How can I have peace in my life if I'm not spending time with the author of peace, with God himself, to take that time to read scripture, to journal, whatever, style of prayer that is in that, like it's helping me in that season of my life. And I go through different kind of waves in my life of prayer that I'm connecting with, and that's helping me in my prayer life. But spending time with God and being really intentional about taking that time is a very, very important part of my life and having peace in my life. I know when I feel haywire and out of whack and all those different kinds of things that I don't have peace, I always have to step back and say, am I spending time with God? As a woman of faith, am I prioritizing that in my life or am I not? Something that I really have to look at honestly. And I really challenge you to look at honestly. So we have to make those choices, and we have to choose each and every single day in these small little ways to say, I want peace in my life. How can I make that happen? How can I be proactive in choosing peace in my everyday? If you want to talk about in the comments the one that maybe you struggle with the most, that would be hardest for you, that maybe in your life you're like, I could change that a little bit and get more peace in my life. You are welcome to talk about that in the comments below. That's all for today. I've got another video coming to you this week. 2 videos in a week. Woohoo! It's my pregnancy Q&A. So look out for that later this week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!